Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're decoding a truly incredible story. I mean, imagine this. A middle-class kid sitting in a tiny hostel room, coding all night, using Google just like the rest of us. He has absolutely no idea that one day he's going to build a massive AI startup from scratch that actually threatens that very same tech giant. We are breaking down the phenomenal rise of Perplexity AI and exploring exactly how it managed to become a $20 billion powerhouse in just a few short years. So, it's the ultimate David versus Goliath scenario, right? Seriously, how do you even begin to challenge a trillion-dollar giant? Well, we're going to find out how Aravind Srinivas, a former dorm room coder, took on the biggest names in tech, like Google, and actually won. This whole thing is a masterclass in strategic brilliance, spotting massive gaps in the market, and completely redefining what it means to look up information on the internet.
Section 1. The Humble Beginnings. Aravind Srinivas's Journey. Let's dive right into his background. Aravind grew up in a simple, middle-class family in Chennai. After finishing school, he headed to IIT Madras to study electrical engineering. But, while his friends were out having fun and living up the college life, Aravind was holed up in his hostel room. He was completely obsessed with coding, trying to figure out how to make machines think intelligently.
And his rise from there? It's nothing short of incredible. Back in 2015 at IIT Madras, when he didn't even fully grasp what machine learning really meant, he entered an ML competition and won it almost entirely without prep. That was the spark. By 2017, he's off to UC Berkeley for his PhD in computer science. Then between 2018 and 2019, he scores internships at the absolute heavyweights, OpenAI, Google Brain, and DeepMind. It was during this time that he had this major realization. Perfect search actually requires advanced AI. Fast forward to December 7th, 2022, and boom, Perplexity officially launches.
Moving on to Section 2, the market fracture, finding the massive gap. So think back to November 2022. For most of us, the internet essentially meant Google. But then, ChatGPT launched and literally transformed the digital landscape overnight. Suddenly, we were talking to computers that didn't just spit out generic answers, they actually understood context and language. But as we all know, ChatGPT had some pretty serious limitations, and that created a massive, wide-open opportunity.
Just think about the exact gap that existed right at that moment. Over on Google, you're handed a giant list of links and a heavy dose of ads, right? It was basically homework. You had to sift through everything yourself to find the actual answer. On the other hand, ChatGPT had this fantastic conversational human tone. But it lacked real-time information. And worse, there were no verified sources, so you couldn't fully trust what it was saying. You either had trusted links but no direct answer, or a great direct answer with zero proof.
That exact intersection, that is the massive gap Aravind saw. He realized he could step right in and give us the best of both worlds. He set out to build an engine that actually fetches real-time data directly from the live internet, presents it in these super concise, easy-to-read summaries, and, this is absolutely crucial, displays credible sources right next to every single insight. And just like that, the foundational concept for Perplexity AI was born.
Which brings us to Section 3, the aggregator pivot, the David versus Goliath slingshot. So, here's the million-dollar, or, well, billion-dollar question. How in the world do you build a cutting-edge AI model without massive funding? Creating a foundational AI model from scratch requires billions of dollars in capital, and Aravind simply didn't have that kind of money lying around.
Well, instead of going totally broke trying to build a proprietary model from the ground up, Aravind executed this masterful strategic pivot. He built an aggregator. It was pure strategic genius. He decided, hey, rather than reinventing the wheel, I'm going to integrate the world's absolute best already existing AI models into my platform. The goal was beautifully simple: pull the best intelligence available and deliver clear, verified, single-answer outputs to the user. The way this infrastructure play works is incredible. Perplexity acts as a sort of hub, pulling in top-tier models like GPT, Gemini, and Llama through APIs. First off, this saved them a fortune in infrastructure costs. Second, it meant they weren't chained to any single model. And honestly, the best part? If one of those AI models suddenly faces a massive legal issue or lawsuit down the road, Perplexity can literally just pull the plug on it and swap in a new model instantly. No sweat.
Now we hit Section 4, explosive growth, validating the vision. So the AI is ready. Time to launch. Keep in mind, this was Aravind's very first startup, and he's walking onto a battlefield where titans like Google and OpenAI already live. When Perplexity launched on December 7th, 2022, Aravind and his 3 co-founders honestly had no idea what was going to happen. But the response? It was immediate and completely staggering.
3,000.
Immediately after launch, with virtually zero marketing budget, they were suddenly hitting 3,000 queries a day. For a brand new startup taking on established monopolies, this kind of early traction was a massive neon sign pointing to success. It proved their core hypothesis. People were desperate for direct answers.
And those 3,000 daily queries? Yeah, they snowballed into the millions in just a matter of months. In fact, the company experienced a mind-bending 1,000x growth in a single year. 1,000 times. The momentum just did not stop. Hitting that level of unprecedented velocity proved they had tapped into a burning consumer need that the old-school search engines were totally ignoring.
30 million. Today, Perplexity handles over 30 million daily searches. Just think about your own habits for a second. When you need to quickly figure something out, you don't want to dig through 5 different websites anymore, do you? Users are genuinely hungry for a search experience that values getting a direct answer over endless scrolling. This immense volume makes Perplexity one of the absolute fastest-growing AI startups on the planet right now.
And, naturally, when you grow that fast, Silicon Valley notices. This explosive growth brought some serious heavyweights to the table. We're talking massive investments from Nvidia, the biggest chip maker in the world, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, and top-tier institutional investors like SoftBank. They all wanted in. $20 billion. This rocket ship trajectory pushed Perplexity's valuation to a staggering $20 billion by 2025. It is just a phenomenal milestone. And it all started with a simple, crystal-clear vision of fixing the totally broken parts of traditional search and chat tools.
Section 5. The Innovator's Dilemma, Why Tech Giants Cannot React. Okay, this is honestly my favorite part of the whole story. The obvious question you're probably screaming right now is, why don't Google or OpenAI just copy Perplexity and crush them instantly? They have the money, they have the talent. Well, the answer is a textbook example of the innovator's dilemma.
The reality is, these giants are trapped by their own massively successful business models. Google makes its billions from ads. If they create a true answer engine that gives you exactly what you need immediately, you won't click any links. If you don't click links, their ad impressions crash and their revenue tanks. On the flip side, OpenAI and Microsoft make billions selling their APIs to enterprise companies. If they launch a neutral, all-in-one aggregator interface like Perplexity, they'd be directly competing with the exact customers who buy those APIs. They are stuck.
So here's the brilliant takeaway. Aravind didn't just build a slightly better search bar. He exploited the structural weaknesses of the tech giants to bring his vision to life. Today, his mission is clear. He firmly believes the future isn't about traditional search engines anymore. It's about AI answer engines. It's a total paradigm shift. He's building a space where we don't just hunt for links, but where we actually go to understand, synthesize, and truly learn. Ultimately, this whole story proves that if you have clarity of vision and execute the right strategy, a kid from a middle-class background absolutely can take on a trillion-dollar Goliath like Google. It's an awesome reminder that true innovation so often comes from the outside. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. As platforms like Perplexity continue to scale and evolve, are we officially leaving the era of search behind and fully entering the era of answers?